activist and the candidate in this by-election for the Scottish Socialist Party. What makes us fairly unique in this election campaign is the fact that if elected, I would only be taking the average worker's wage rather than the big MSP salary of £75,000 that the rest of the candidates will pocket. And we do that as a long-standing principled position of the Scottish Socialist Party in order to keep in touch with the everyday realities of the people that we are seeking to represent. I don't think you can be truly representative of people if you're comfortably insulated from the harsh realities that they themselves are facing. And at a time like this, when faith in politics is at an all-time low, we think that this policy offering helps to restore a bit of faith that we're not all the same, and that some of us are not career politicians, we're not in this for corrupt motives, and we're here because we genuinely want to make a difference to ordinary working class people. We are going to focus on a package of socialist alternatives, and we hope to make people aware that there is an alternative to all the decades of austerity that are passed down almost like there's something inevitable about them. We believe that these are political choices, and they're going to be delivered in some fashion by all of the mainstream parties, and we think that these decades of austerity and these continued cuts that are made on the backs of ordinary working class people are completely inevitable, and we've got alternatives to them in the form of wealth taxation, progressive wealth taxation, 5% wealth taxation on millionaires and billionaires to give money back to the millions of people who need it for things like jobs, public services, jobs, wages, all of that, rather than constantly pandering to the millionaire and the billionaire class. We believe that quite a mild wealth taxation would raise 260 billion UK-wide, and in Scottish terms that would equate to about £25 billion. So just think about the possibilities. Instead of sitting here talking about all the cuts that we need to make, we would be talking about how we're going to spend that money and what we're going to invest in. We've also been long-standing campaigners for the Scottish service tax, a complete overhaul of the council tax, and we've campaigned to that end for more than 25 years now. The SNP have made noises about changing the council tax since 2007, but have done nothing to actually address that, rather than maybe just some slight tinkering around the edges. But we want to see that completely scrapped in favour of a system that's more progressive, equitable, and based on the ability to pay. And people earning less than £12,000 would pay absolutely nothing at all, and people earning more than 200,000 would be paying something in the order of 77,000. So that's one option that would be available in order to address these constant rounds of cuts that are getting passed down as though they were somehow inevitable, and it would double funding to councils from 2.7 billion to 5.3 billion. So the conversations that we're having about what cuts do you want, and the sham consultations that people are asked to participate in, would be replaced by public meetings, consultations on how people actually wanted to reverse the cuts and reinvest in society and all the things that make up the fabric of society and make life worth living for the majority of working class people. On top of that, we would be seeking to scrap PFI contracts. We think it's absolutely criminal the amount of money that has been siphoned off by private money lenders that could be better used for hospital equipment, hospital staff, research. Some of these arrangements at the worst end mean that the public are buying one hospital but actually paying back 10 hospitals. So that's absolutely criminal, and that would be a priority of ours to address if we were elected to represent the people of Hamilton, Larkhall and Stonehouse. As well as that, we believe in no cuts budgets, defiance with cuts rather than compliance with them. We've seen councillors all over the place meekly handing down cuts while they wring their hands and tell us that it's absolutely inevitable. Enough of that. We're saying that there's an alternative to that, and that there should be a popular united front made up of community groups, trade unions, councillors, groups like this one running this hustings tonight, to challenge the cuts agenda and to refuse to implement it, and instead to set set a budget that actually meets the needs of people. It's been done before, and when we look at energy companies and supermarkets making record profits, and money can be found for war and to kill Palestinian people at the drop of a hat, yet the basic life-sustaining fabric of society has been hollowed out bit by bit, year by year, and it's constantly a variation on the same theme. We're saying that there is an alternative to that, that we can set budgets that meet the needs of communities, and councillors need to remember that they're elected by the people to meet the needs of the people. So there are defiance options, defiance rather than compliance, as was done in Liverpool in the 1980s, where the council refused to implement the cuts that were being handed down by the most hard-nosed Thatcher government, and they mounted a popular fight back and won back something like £60 million for the people of Liverpool, and that money would be something like 240 million in today's money. And what they did with that money was they built affordable homes, they built sports facilities, they reduced the working week to 35 hours for council staff, they increased nursery places, they froze rent for 8 years and increased teacher numbers. So that gives you a flavour of the kind of possibilities that there are if we take different choices, rather than just the same old, there's nothing we can do about this. All of the mainstream parties are supportive of the very system that generates these kind of inequalities and the need for this kind of austerity, and we are different. We've got an alternative, a socialist package of measures that would deal with all of that. Thank you.